Hey guys, Romano here from Bonsaiwithromano. Hope you guys are well. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video, but today I've got a jam-packed program for you. So today I'm going to show you how I repot a Bonsaiwithromano. I'm going to show you all the work that I've done over the weekend, and then I'm going to show you how I prepare my soil mixture, and then I've got a special treat for you. I'm going to show you guys how I prepare my vermicompost so that you can test it on your bonsai and see how it works in your regions. Then I'm also just going to show you guys a brief overview of all the trees in my collection, like the deciduous trees, how they've been reacting to the new spring season or the growing season. And funny enough, we had massive rainfalls. We are well over our yearly average, and it's only September. Average is about 700 milliliters a year, and we're already sitting at 815 milliliters for this year. So it's a very cold and wet winter, and I don't know if it's over yet. It should have been over about 10-20 days ago, but now we're still having rainfall. Very cloudy, very windy, and as you guys can see behind me, the trees are just blowing, so you have to tie down your trees. All my trees are low down, so I don't worry about the wind because the area that I live in is quite protected, so the wind blows over us. But yeah, I'm going to take you guys through the process of repotting, showing you guys all the materials I use and a bit of updates on my trees. So let's dive straight into it. I'm trying out the new soil mixture to see if I can improve the overall health of my trees. For this new mixture, I use a mix of Perlite and Leca in equal parts, some well-decomposed compost and vermicompost. I use 3 parts of the Perlite and Leca mixture with half a part of compost, half a part of vermicompost. That gives me 75% non-organic and 25 organic materials. All these components I mix together thoroughly, and I add in 2 hands of bone meal to the mixture. I prepared the container by adding mesh over the hole in the center of the container and securing the mesh with wire. I also added additional wire you can use later to secure the tree into the container. I tilted the pot to check if any wires were used to secure the tree into the pot. All clinging roots were removed by running an old butter knife along the inside of the container. I then carefully removed the tree from the old soil. The tree's roots were raked to remove excess soil with a single prong rake. Once most of the excess soil was removed, I put some of the new soil mixture at the bottom of the container. The tree was secured using wires, leaving some space if more soil mixture was needed to level the tree. All gaps were filled with soil mixture using my fingers. The tree was watered well and placed in a shady area. I use a combination of food and household waste in my worm bins, like toilet rolls cut up into small pieces, crushed eggshell, used coffee grounds, and finely chopped food scraps and tea bags. I remove the tea from the tea bags if they aren't biodegradable. I do this for all my tea bags just to be on the safe side. I add these components to my worm bins once a week. First, I add the food waste, then the cut up toilet rolls to absorb the moisture from the food scraps. This moisture then helps with the decomposition of the toilet rolls. I spread the eggshells evenly, followed by the coffee grounds and the tea bags. This layering helps the worms access the food scraps and reduce smells. If you notice a rotten smell, you are adding too much food for the worms to handle. Worms eat about 1/3 to half their body weight in one day in the ideal conditions. I use a 3-layer worm farm for effective composting. The top layer is the most fully decomposed layer. The layer below that is the layer for the new food scraps. The reason I'm using the middle layer for fresh food scraps is so that the worms from the top layer will migrate to the second layer once the food supply runs out to the top layer. The lower layer is the leachate catchment area. The excess moisture runs down into this layer. The tap on this layer is always open to allow the leachate to run into a smaller container that I empty out every day if there is any runoff in the container. Allowing the leachate to flow avoids anaerobic bacteria to build up. This leachate I use to fertilize my lawns, scrubs, and I diluted 1 part of leachate to 10 parts of water. Harvest ready worm castings are moist but not soggy or too dry. To make worm tea, add a few handfuls of fresh worm castings into a net bag. I use an 80% shading net for this. Add 20 liters of water into a bucket along with 30 milliliters of black molasses to encourage beneficial organisms to grow. Suspend the bag with worm castings in the water but keep it above the water level. Put the lid on the bucket with 2 air stones to help with the fermentation. Allow the fermentation process to run for 24 hours. If you've been following my channel from the start, you might recognize this tree. I started with just a stump when I bought it from nursery back in 2013 for 450 bucks. Well, this year's a big one. I'm finally ready to take this tree to the next level by putting it into a bonsai container. Who knows, you might even see it in the show this year. Let's wait and see how it turns out. Over the years, I've trimmed this tree a few times during the growing season. But this year, I decided to do something more significant. I worked on improving the tree structure by making sure it's more open and reducing the places where the branches split into 2. It was quite a long process, and I wouldn't recommend that you do this every year. I waited till the tree was strong and healthy enough before attempting this intensive work. By trimming the tree like this, it lets in more sunlight to the inner parts of the tree, and it also allows more airflow. Better airflow means less humidity, which means the tree will be less bothered by pests. Now it's important to note that these type of trees often are used for hedges, so I believe it should recover and grow well, even though I had to give it quite a haircut this year. Some of my deciduous trees have already woken up from winter, full of buds and leaves, while others are still resting. A few ficus trees have dropped all of their leaves due to the cold winter. Despite the cold, the wind, most of my trees are showing new growth as the days get longer. And there you have it, the tale of a juniper repotting, vermicompost and worm tea. If you like the content, please hit the subscribe button so you can stay in the loop. Just make sure your notifications are on.